But it's really fun doing the online dating photos for people. My concept is that wherever that person is, there just happen to be a professional photographer there who just happen to get that one photo of them coming out of yoga or at a bar, at a party, or at a wedding, like reception or whatever.
Welcome back to How Much Can I Make? The podcast about jobs and careers. I'm your host, Mirav Ozeri. My guest today is Caroline White, a professional photographer who turned her passion for storytelling into a thriving business. She shoots corporate work, personal branding, and family portraits. But what really caught my attention is her stunning underwater photography. From maternity portraits that look like fine art to dreamlike images that float somewhere between reality and fantasy. You can see her photographs on her website or Instagram account. The links are in the show notes. Don't miss it, they're really amazing. Let's turn to Caroline and find out how she carved out a one-of-a-kind niche in a brutally competitive industry, and also how much can she make. First of all, tell me, how did you become a photographer?
How I became a professional photographer was that I came to LA in 2005 to be an actor. And I was very lucky. I started working in commercials right away and making good money. And as soon as I had enough money, I was like, I'm getting a camera. I'm going to take the headshots of all the actors in my acting class and put up a website, because I'd been wanting to be a headshot photographer of actors for as long as I'd really been an actor.
So you always were attracted to photography. So what kind of photography do you do? I saw a variety of things on your website.
There's what I do and there's what I sell and market. Basically, I shoot everything except for weddings. I do not shoot weddings. I mostly do personal branding for entrepreneurs. I do underwater, I do maternity, I do video, and the underwater thing I added in 2021. So that's a newer, more exciting, sexier niche that I've
Yeah, and I want to talk about it, but before, did you have to go to school, or are you self-taught?
I'm self-taught. I have a degree in acting, which is, it's the most useful and the least useful degree all at the same time.
Yes, I can imagine.
I feel like actors can do anything, but also the degree is so worthless. Yeah, I'm self-taught. I took a couple of darkroom classes, but it's in my blood. I wouldn't be a photographer if my great aunt wasn't in the ether, in the DNA, in the family conversation.
Why? Was she a photographer?
Yeah, Margaret Bourke-White was one of the biggest photographers way back in the day. She did the first cover of Life magazine in 1936. She photographed Gandhi, the Holocaust. She died in 1971. I was born in 1981. So when I first started taking people's pictures, like when I first started making money, I was so insecure about how new I was to it. So when people would say, "How long have you been doing this?" I would say, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" Because I didn't want to talk about the fact that I have only been getting paid to do this for like 2 months. There goes the dog.
At what point did you realize you can make it a business?
Pretty quickly. I would say it was a side business for the first 7 years because I was still doing acting. So I was split 50-50 between acting and photography. And then in 2011, I had a burglary. And they took my life's work. They took all my archives. I didn't have cloud storage back in 2011. Cloud storage wasn't quite fully integrated thing. So I lost all my equipment, no insurance. And that's when I decided, you know what? I think I'm done with acting. And I said to myself, let me do an experiment. Let me throw myself into photography for a full year and then see at the end of that year if it's viable.
So what was the first gig you had?
That was also the year that I joined B School taught by Forleo, and she became a client. And that's how I fell into photographing all these women entrepreneurs for online marketing and coaches. I took her course, and I don't think I even got through a quarter of the course, and I fell into that community at the right time. But I also had the skills as well. It was like this just confluence of luck meeting opportunity, meeting skill, and those lucky moments. And I actually had photographed Marie's assistant, who was an actor. And she was like, "Oh, Carolyn," she bought my biggest package at the time. And she was like, "Carolyn, you should really photograph women entrepreneurs." And I was like, "Oh, there's not enough of them. I've already done 10. There's not that many." And she's like, "No, you're so wrong. It's a $1 billion industry. You don't know what you're talking about. I was like, no, it's not. And then even though I poo-pooed her suggestion, I still ended up falling into it. So that she had a vision for how meant for that track I was. Shout out to Louise Flory. God bless her.
So from shooting women entrepreneur, how did you get to underwater photography? How did this come about?
I think I saw an episode of F-Stoppers, which is a podcast YouTube for photographers. And I saw a photographer that was doing underwater shoots, and she was like putting brass framed beds and musical instruments and creating these really magical worlds. And I just remember being like, I want to do that one day. I don't know when, I don't know how, but that really stuck in my brain. When I would daydream, I would keep going back to that. One day I'm going to do that. And eventually I did. It took a long time to get there.
So you're mostly doing pregnancy and delivery underwater, or?
No, no deliveries. No deliveries.
Okay, so underwater photography is very cinematic. It's emotional. I see people responding emotionally to it. What is it that you try to achieve in the underwater photography?
I think for me, the underwater work that I do, for me personally, is all about escaping this crazy world we live in, escaping the mundane. But it's also about romance. When there's a black background, it's very cosmic and outer space. You know, when you're under the surface above you becomes a mirror. And so if somebody is floating with their face above the water and you turn the photo, it looks like they're looking through that mirror in the matrix that becomes liquid, and they're going through a portal.
When you do underwater, you rent a pool, you have a pool?
Yeah. I've done it in the ocean, but definitely the pool. I would only photograph people in the ocean who were like super ultra divers, surfers, ultra super water people, but the pool is awesome. Yeah, I rent pools, and then I have a housing that I put my camera in that locks it all in and seals it and has all these crazy buttons and stuff. And I used to hold my breath on shoots, but now I have this special breathing machine so I don't miss any shots.
Oh,
so
yeah,
exciting.
this is what I wonder. What's the biggest challenge of shooting underwater?
When I do personal branding photography, I am like setting every piece of fabric, every prop, every angle, like every pose is like set. And with underwater, it's completely different. You have to let go. The fabrics are flowing. The hair is going. There's always a slight current in the pool because of the filter. It's really subtle. But if you just float there for a minute or two, you will start to drift or turn.
So how did you build that niche of maternity underwater?
I guess because I've been working with mostly women for such a long time. And I think the pool is evocative of being in the womb, floating in this warm. I try to rent saltwater pools and I try to heat them really. So it's really cozy and very safe and inviting. And to me, it very much feels like sort of womb.
The heating of the water is interesting. So what other things would you say that people wouldn't think about the underwater photography? What are the challenges and the behind the scene that people will be surprised to hear?
This is interesting. I was afraid of the water.
Whoa.
I was not good at swimming. I was not good at diving. I took lots of lessons and trainings, and most underwater photographers, they start as just water babies and surfers and badass water people and mermaids. And then they just pick up a camera and they're like, cool. I was very much the opposite. It took a lot of practice and training and meditating and healing. But because of that, I am uniquely suited to working with people that have nerves or inexperience in the water. I've had clients who can't float at all, can't dog paddle, can't hold their breath at all. And they still had a positive experience because I am very much in touch with any nervousness. But what's interesting to me is that some of the harder people to photograph are these badass world-class swimmers because they're so used to working hard in the water and they're not used to relaxing in the water. So they're diving and they're making these blowfish faces and they're working really hard and they're huffing and puffing. And I'm like, forget all of your athletic water stuff.
You also shoot portraits. We're going to talk about it. Does the underwater photography pay more than the regular, like corporate shots or portraits?
They're about the same. They're pretty similar. It depends on what package people get. If I'm shooting a big group corporate, that's going to be more than shooting one person in the water. It
How
really
much
depends.
would
Like,
it cost me if I want underwater pictures of myself? What would it cost me?
I would give you a deal. No, my smallest package for underwater starts at 2,500. That includes handmade piece of artwork,
What do you mean
as well.
handmade piece of artwork?
So what I'll do is I'll choose my favorite photo and I'll print it onto matte paper and then I'll paint on top of it. So it's like a
Oh,
paint, it's like half painting. I had a client who she had a scarf from her late mother, this beautiful silk scarf, and she was like, I really want to incorporate this scarf into the shoot, but I don't want to put it in the water because it's so precious. So what I did was I did a double exposure with the photos of her underwater and then photographed the fabric on land and combined those in post.
so it's included in the 2,500. And how many pictures
Yeah.
do they get? That includes, of course, the pool and everything. You pay for everything.
That includes the pool, and I have a collection of fabrics and dresses and fake flowers. And I have a whole bunch of props and outfits and stuff, but I work with people to figure out what they want to wear and what they want to bring and what fabrics work in the water. The smallest package usually includes about 20 images, so it's not a small amount of images.
Nice, nice.
And it includes some video as well.
This is what I want. My next question. You said you're doing video. You shoot
Yes.
video underwater as well?
Yeah, I've been doing this my whole, I guess my branding career has been about 14, 15 years. I've always just switched back and forth on the same camera between video and photo. Whether I'm on land or water with people, I'll say to them, that was great. Do that again because I want to get the stills of that. And I just did the video. Or I want to
Right.
get the. So I'll have people repeat what they're doing a bunch of times, and then they'll start to feel more confident. And I'll be getting the close-ups, the wide shots, the verticals, the horizontals.
What was the most difficult underwater shoot you had?
Early on, it was really cold. The heater on the pool didn't work. Fortunately, I was shooting a portfolio shoot. It wasn't a client. So when it was really cold and I was holding my breath, that was really hard. Oh my gosh. And I don't need people to hold their breath for more than 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a long breath hold. I can get a ton of photos in 10 seconds. They don't
Yes,
need to.
wow. And did you have an underwater shoot that went completely wrong?
Oh, there was a shoot where I forgot a piece of equipment. Again, it was a portfolio shoot. And I had this guy, this male swimmer, this beautiful model, and I didn't bring part of the equipment I needed. So I ended up photographing him. He was in the pool still, and I just got on a really tall chair and I shot all these bird's eye view pictures of him in the water, but I couldn't get in the water. And I actually really love that shoot.
I want to get back to the money before I want to talk to I want to talk to you about your portrait photography, but you said $2,500 for a package. How did you decide how to price your work?
It's really hard. Every market is different. And one thing I encourage photographers, I used to coach photographers on the side a little bit, and I was always telling them, I know you live in Bumblefuck, but you've got to make yourself an established photographer in whatever the largest, nearest city is where there's some people who are willing to spend. Get in the car and drive 3 hours if you need to, or even get on a plane and just work that price into your packages, because what happens to a lot of the photographers in really small towns is they have to work in volume. They can't charge as much, but there's also not enough people. So big cities really are great places for photographers to make a decent living and charge a decent rate.
But how did you come up with $2,500 for the package?
That was kind of based off of what people had been paying for my personal branding packages, and I kind of just did the math on because underwater shoots take a lot more prep work and post work, and also a lot more, for me, they required a lot more training and just more equipment.
I saw on your website, on your video, that you said that if you take a good image, portrait, it could change your career or change your trajectory. I want you to speak about that.
It's a cliche, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. As people's attention spans get shorter and shorter, the photos and the videos, like even a few seconds of video, become more important.
I'm asking because everybody is a photographer today. They have the camera in their pocket. So they can ask their friends to take a bunch of shots. What makes it different when they come to you and pay you the money. You shoot everything outside, right?
No, I have a studio space in Los Angeles, and I rent studio spaces in San Diego and Orange County for personal branding and corporate, and then I shoot in pools for underwater maternity. But I also go to hotels and people's homes and Airbnbs, and I go to Chicago and Paris and New York and
So
stuff.
what do you think makes the difference when you take the photograph rather than the girlfriend?
It's a lot of different factors. It's lighting, it's the lens, it's the styling, it's the emotion, it's the gesture, the movement. I'm really big on expression. And so I'm constantly like moving around, working with people to try to get both the most beautiful expression, but also the most attractive expression. And there's all sorts of posing tricks. And generally speaking, like when your friends take your picture, you're like stiff, you're holding a pose for a really long time. I really like taking people through a flow of different poses, but also trying to surprise them and trying to make them laugh and trying to get them out of their heads. So giving them things to engage in, whether that's like an idea or a prop or a pose or a movement, a twirl. Honestly, the big trick is that I take a ton of photos.
And you pick the
eh,
best.
yeah, that is the number one, especially with portrait.
Do you have to bring a makeup artist with you?
I used to be really strict about requiring a makeup artist, and then COVID put a wrench in that. And I kind of figured out, look, everybody kind of learned to do their makeup themselves during COVID because they couldn't have a makeup artist right in their face. So I'm flexible whether people want to use one of my makeup artists, one of their makeup artists, or do their own. I feel like with social media, people have gotten so good at doing their own and they're so particular.
So I just saw a documentary about all the stuff that AI is doing online. Do you
Yes.
see that as a threat? Because what prevents somebody from putting their face on some amazing underwater picture or
Yeah.
have AI design a portrait for themselves? It's a big competition
Yeah.
and threat on photographers, no?
Yeah, I don't think the technology is there yet. There's a few photographers I do follow that seem to use AI seamlessly, but it's a really small group. And when the average Joe goes onto AI and says, put my face on this, it looks terrible. It looks so bad. I don't need to photograph everybody. If a bunch of people are doing that, those probably weren't my clients to begin with, because I think my clients really value authenticity, but they also just want the experience of like being seen and having this experience, whether it's a portrait shoot or a family shoot or underwater, especially if it's a maternity shoot. No one is doing AI maternity shoots because I think it's probably bad luck to do that.
What is the most request you get for photography? Is it underwater or is it the portraits? Is it what's the biggest one that's the hardest area for you now?
I would actually say personal branding and online dating photos.
What? They come to you and tell you, I
Yes.
wanted something for dating?
Yeah, both men and women. Yeah. And I love doing it. That's actually one of my favorite things because I think it's really exciting to help people in their business and help them make money, but it's not quite as juicy as one of my clients. She like credits me as being a big part of like why she found her soulmate, and that just gets me so I'm crying. I'm already crying. But it's really fun doing the online dating photos for people because I talk to them about, okay, like, what's your lifestyle? What activities do you do? Like, where do you go? And then we kind of try to do a day in the life. So we'll go to the beach or the farmer's market, or we'll go to a fancy bar when the lights are getting low. And I get very into the outfits. I have a whole philosophy of online dating photos. And okay, this is my philosophy, because you don't want your online dating photos to look too posed or too professional. It's fine if your professional photos are like, I'm a lawyer and I'm sitting in front of my desk and welcoming you into my office. But for the online dating photos, my concept is that wherever that person is, there just happen to be a professional photographer there who just happen to get that one photo of them coming out of yoga or at a bar, at a party, or at a wedding, like reception or whatever. I like to do a lot of photos where people aren't looking directly at the camera. They're being caught off guard a little bit and they're like, oh, I didn't see you there.
So you have the package for the 2,500. That's the lowest package, right?
For underwater, yeah.
And for portraits?
For portrait, it's 3,500, but they get hundreds of photos because they need those for social media and like all the different seasons and stuff.
How do you market yourself?
The name of the game is really all about SEO these days. That's really what the name of the game has become. It used to be, I've been a pro photographer for 21 years, And it's always gone through phases. In 2007-8, all my clients came through Yelp. I haven't gotten a client off of Yelp in over 10 years. The last few years, it's been Google. For a few years, it was Facebook. It was Instagram a while back for me. Email newsletters for a while. There's been these kind of trends of like how clients find me, and it seems to like I'll have a trend that goes for a while and then it'll start to die, and I'll say, okay, we need to figure out what is the next thing. And obviously the next thing is having ChatGPT say, this is who you pick. I'm like literally asking ChatGPT, how do I get you to recommend me?
What would you say if you're looking back at your career? What was the biggest challenge?
I would say I kind of had a big dip after COVID and had to rebuild after that. And I kind of had a big chip on my shoulder because I've been doing this for so long. Rebuilding post-COVID was harder than rebuilding after my burglary.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your biggest reward?
I had a recent maternity client who said that the video that I did made her cry. The money is great, but like really the acknowledgement and the appreciation, you can't put a price on. When clients make me cry by how happy they are from something I've made with them, when they return like many times, like that just makes like warms my heart.
Do you find yourself working all the time, 7 days a week, because you work for yourself?
I can't tell. It's so hard to tell because I'll go to like a photography museum exhibit and I'm like, does that count as work? I had 3 gallery shows in the past year, and that was like a departure from my normal work, and that was like a detour. But I don't know if that really counts as like photography or if that's like more of an artist.
How big the prints were in the gallery?
Oh my God, some of them were 48 by 30 inches. A whole bunch of them were really big.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
I have some quick questions. One celebrity or public figure you would love to photograph?
Oh gosh. Oh man, there's so many. Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, okay.
I would love to get her in the water.
Ooh, that would be nice.
I think she'd be amazing at it.
Yeah. Favorite city to shoot in?
Havana.
Havana. Hopefully we'll be able to go back there.
I've been a bunch of times. I used to lead trips there before the pandemic.
And took pictures there?
Yeah, I did 6 trips there, 6 years in a row.
Best light, sunrise or sunset?
Oh, sunset. I am not a morning person at all. You're going to have to pay me a lot to get up for the sunrise.
Black and white or color?
It depends. Oh, don't make me choose. This is the hardest. I can't choose. Don't make me choose.
Okay. One photo you wish you had taken in history?
I have to say Gandhi at the spinning wheel, which is by my great aunt. She actually took it the day he was assassinated, but Life magazine decided to not run it in association with his assassination. They held on to it for later, but that was taken the day he was assassinated.
Wow. One word that describes underwater photography?
Meditative.
Interesting. Okay, last one. Finish the sentence. A great photographer should
be open.
Cool. All right.
This was so fun.
That was so good. I want to remind our audience that they can look at your amazing pictures on your website, and it's in the show notes. Really, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
That's it for today. And if you're interested in other creative careers, visit howmuchcanimake.info and explore our creative careers category. You'll discover what different jobs are really like, how to break into the field, what skills you need, and how much you can earn. And you'll be able to make an informed career decision. I will see you next week with another episode of How Much Can I Make?